This video has been created so you have an easy access free source of information that when your lifts start to stop progressing in the gym, you can refer back to this video. You'll probably have a good understanding of how to progress, such as increasing weight and reps. These are two of the best ways to progress in the gym. However, this video will go into more detail into them and explain other ideas such as progressing lighter weights versus progressing heavier weights, when you should or should not progress, and much more as well, which can help you progress in the gym and make more overall progress to whatever your goal is. The first thing that we should cover, and will make everything clearer in the video, is the 3 types of progression you can make in the gym. The 3 types of progression are load. This is just increasing the weight on the bar, such as doing 50 kg to 55 kg. Reps, this is adding an extra rep or 2 to the set compared to last time. And the final one is improving your form. This allows you to stay consistent and allows you to make sure that your form is perfect so you can minimize injury and allow you to keep progressing. An example is if you're doing 150 kg squats for a set of 7 and your form was a bit shaky, next time you go in, you do 150 for 7, the same reps and weight, but you do your form better so that you are still progressing as the muscle has more tension on it. The first aspect of this progression guide is standardizing your form. What standardizing form means is just making sure each rep in each set is the same compared to last time. It's very effective once you start using it correctly, but it does take some time to learn and practice, and you need to be strict on it to make sure you're actually doing it. An example of standardizing form is if you're doing 15 kg for bicep curl for a set of 10. On week 1 of your program, you do this, but on week 5, you build up the reps with the same 15 kg dumbbells, so now you can get 14 reps out of them. If you've standardized your form correctly, then this set in week 5 should look more or less similar to the first set in week 1. But if you have not standardized your form, it's likely that you're swinging back and forward using other muscles to help assist you in the reps, which means that you're not standardizing your form and you're not likely to be progressing. So how should you standardize your form? You want to standardize your reps based on these main points: eccentric lowering speed, which is just the speed you lower the exercise. An example is lowering the weight for 3 seconds down on a cable row. Where or if you do any pauses, this can be in the stretch position, which is likely to lead to more growth anyway due to stretch mediated hypertrophy, or in the shortened position. Your body position is also a good thing to standardize. You want to make sure your body is in the same position compared to the machine or weights, so that you're still using the weights with the same muscles. Another big factor is making sure the range of motion for each rep and for each set is identical, or more or less identical. Ideally, this will be taking the muscle for its full range of motion the majority of the time. It can also prevent injury as you're using lighter weights, so the injury risk is much lower. This is an actionable step you can do in the gym. The next time you do an exercise in the gym, work out what your form is going to be like so that you can make sure each rep is the same, and write it down. Make sure you write this down somewhere, what your form is going to be like. So the next time you do this exercise, you know what your form should be like. And to progress, you need to add either more reps or more weight to make sure you're progressing. It could be that you're doing the same reps and the same weight, but your form is better and closer to that ideal set that you wrote down the first time you did this exercise. The next factor in making sure you're making as much progression in the gym as possible is the difference between progressing lighter loads versus progressing heavier loads. I will first go over lighter weights, then we'll go to heavier weights. I will give an example for each one, as this just makes it a whole lot easier for me to explain. What I will class as a light weight is anything you could do over around 12 reps with. So if you're doing a dumbbell lateral raise with 10 kg for 15 reps, and this takes you to 10 RPE or 0 RR, this is at failure, and you want to progress. The 3 options that we talked about earlier is you increase weight, reps, or form. If you're increasing weight, it could be a good idea, but the problem is that most dumbbells in the gym normally increases by 2 to 2.5 kg or around 5 pounds. What this means is if you're trying to do lateral raises in the rep range of 12 to 20 reps, if you're going to increase the weight, a jump from 10 kg to 12.5 kg, would be a 25% increase in weight, meaning that your reps are likely to drop below 10, which would take you out the rep range you're trying to work with. As well as this, for side delts, if you go too heavy and too low reps, it's really hard to feel the mind-muscle connection with the muscle, which can also decrease the muscle growth you're going to get, as you are likely to use more momentum with other body parts to get the weight up. Instead, what I would do is to progress through increasing reps. So if you stayed with the 10 kg dumbbells and went from 15 reps to 16 reps, it would only be around a 6 to 7% increase progression, which is a lot easier than adding more weight, which is a 25% increase. You can also improve your form by slowing down the lowering portion of the lift and other aspects like that. If you are increasing reps, you want to make sure you have standardized your form and it is more or less the same to how it was when you first done the exercise. We'll now go over progressing heavier loads. What I will class as a heavier load is anything that you use for reps below 8. If you have a 100 kg barbell and you're doing bench press and you're able to get 5 reps with it with good form, and you have 0 reps in reserve, meaning that if you went for another rep, you would not be able to get it up and the spotter would have to lift it up. The 3 ways you can progress from here, as explained earlier, are form, reps, or weight. There are 2 ways that I would progressively overload from here that make the most sense. The first way is doing better form compared to last time. This will be using the same weight of 100 kg for the same reps, which are 5 reps, but with better form. This will allow you to put more tension onto the muscle in the same set, despite the same weight and reps. This will cause a higher stimulus from the set, meaning that you're still progressing. I would recommend this progression if your form wasn't near perfect the first time you've done the set. The second way that you can progress from here is from adding more weight onto the bar. If you're doing 100 kg for 5 with near perfect form on week 1 and you feel like your form was as good as it needs to be, then your next option is to add weight onto the bar. In most cases, you should add the least weight possible so that it enables you to match the reps from last week. So it's easier for you to know if you're actually progressing. So what I would do is do 102.5 kg for 5 reps in week 2. If your form is near perfect in week 1, then doing 102.5 kg for 5 should be possible for week 2. You may find that your form is a little bit off when doing the 102 kg. So that what you should do is in week 3, make sure you don't increase the weight, but you try and make sure your form was better if you find that it needs improving. The third way you could increase is reps. However, I would not recommend doing this when using heavy weights. It's more than likely that you're not going to actually be able to do it if you're training close to failure. This is because if you're doing 100 kg for 5 reps in week 1 and in week 2 you do 100 kg for 6 reps, the percentage difference to get that last rep, which will make it 6 reps, is a 20% increase in total weight lifted. But if you do 100 kg for 5 and then the next week you do 102.5 for 5, the percentage increase in weight lifted is only 2.5%, making it a much more viable way to progress if you're using heavier weights. This is a step you can do the next time you're in the gym. The next time you're in the gym and you're going to make a progression, do a quick tactical thing of what would actually be the most achievable, increasing the weight or adding reps, or sometimes it will be neither, as you actually find that improving your form will give you the most benefits, as it will allow you to hit the muscle better and reduce injury. Progressing through rep ranges. This is one of the easiest ways to progress with weights that are mid to lighter in loads. This is my favourite way to progressively overload in the gym, as it makes everything easier, and it also is kind of like a little game you're playing with yourself to try and get to the top of the rep range. What a rep range is simply just a range of reps that you're following when doing a set. An example of a rep range is if you're doing hack squats and you're following a rep range between 9 reps to 12 reps, meaning that the lowest amount of reps you can get is 9, but the highest amount you can get is 12, and you're trying to get 3 reps in reserve or less, as this will stimulate the most muscle. You want it to be heavy enough that you don't go over the top of the rep range, which will be 12, but you want it to be light enough that you can get the bottom of the rep range, which is 9. Once you do your first set and you land near the bottom of the rep range, you add reps over time while keeping standardized form until you reach the top of the rep range, which is 12. Once you can get 12 reps with this weight, you want to add more weight so that your reps fall back down to 9. From here, you can build it up again. Rep ranges work especially well for exercises that are moderate in load, as you can both add reps as it is light enough, but you can also add weight as the percentage increase won't be impossible, especially once you build up the reps to the top of the rep range. I would recommend using rep ranges in the region of around 8 to 20 reps. As going above 20, it will be hard to actually take the set to failure, as lactic acid, cardio, and just wanting to get the set done will stop you from actively progressing and by actually going to failure. Also, by going too light, it can be harder to lock into the exercise and standardize your form and try and make each rep intentionally the best it can be. As you're doing so many reps, it's easy to just unconsciously lift the weight from A to B with no real purpose. As explained earlier, weights that are too heavy are really hard to continually add reps to, so I wouldn't use rep ranges for them. This is the reason why I'd only recommend rep ranges for weights that are moderate in load. Although obviously you still can use heavier weights and lighter weight if you enjoy using that, as they'll still build you almost the identical amount of muscle. Maybe more as if you're more consistent, more motivated, and enjoy training this way more. But just make sure you're training in the region of 5 to 30 reps and you're actually taking a set near failure with the minimum of 3 reps in reserve. The final 2 points we should cover is when you should progress and when you should not progress. There are 2 points on each. So when should you progress? You should progress when your form is near perfect and your form has been accurately portrayed to match the first time you've done the exercise and is almost as good as it can be. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect, as you don't need to obsess over your form. You just need to make sure you're actually using the muscle to move the weight and your reps look similar each time you do it. You should also progress if you're feeling no nagging pains or discomfort, as if you're feeling pain when you do the exercise, increasing the weight will likely lead to more issues. Instead, you just try and assess the issue, maybe swap out the exercise, do a different way so that you don't feel the pain anymore. Another thing to mention before I end off this video is that you're not always going to be able to progress, but the majority of the time you should be. In some sessions you might find that you're only able to match what you did last week, but overall this is still progress, as even if you match, you're still creating some stimulus which will cause you to gain more muscle. And if you regress, look at variables outside the gym. That is the full guide to progressively overloading in the gym. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll answer them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.